specificity, that's a great topic. I kind of realized all of my favorite improvisers are incredibly specific,
Hmm.
because it it's not only naming things and giving specifics for your scene partner, but it's also for the audience, right? So
Yeah.
it's like then the audience can also make assumptions about the characters that you're playing or about the environment that you're in.
Mm.
And so for me, specificity, when I'm in the when I'm in the audience and an improviser is being specific, it really makes me feel like I'm in that world more
Hmm.
than if they're being
Hmm.
more general, I think. I also think with being by being specific, you're helping ground the scene that you're performing in some sort of emotional truth.
Hmm.
And I mean, when I talk about grounding scenes, that's kind of my definition for it, which is specificity and relatable
Yeah.
human emotion, right? And
Hmm.
so it just gives the audience the opportunity to relate to what you're doing, to
Hmm.
understand where you're coming from, and in my opinion, to be able to laugh. And I know that you're at this point and beyond this point. You have so much improv experience, but where you just get to a point where you're like, I'm probably gonna mess this up, and but then I'll be okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
You
right.
know what I mean? Like early
Yeah.
on in my improv career, and for a long time, for a very long time, I would come home and I would cry after a bad show,
Yeah.
and now it's like, well, that sucked.
Hmm. I'm glad you're bringing this up because this is something that I talk about with my students quite a bit. And I always look back at like the first 2 years of my career, and I always feel like it's like the first 2 years of many of my students' careers where they have that thing that like they will beat themselves up,
Yeah.
and I want to show them. I'm like one thing that I do uh, regularly is I won't do I won't do notes immediately after shows. Like I'll save them for rehearsals or something like that. But
Yeah.
I'm like I want you to feel comfortable stepping away from that and just letting it blow into the wind, and then we'll talk about it later. And so that becomes a big thing for me at a
Mm.
certain point in my improviser's careers. I'm like, step away from it. It's okay. I think
And
it
and
was
now there's
okay.
I don't want to say it's fun to fail. I know people say that. I don't know that
Mhm.
that's totally true for me, but it definitely makes you better the next time.
Yeah,
Maybe that's obvious, but
yeah.
that's more how I look at it now as opposed to having nightmares about it, which I used to do.
Do you have a favorite short form game?
I really like New Choice, which is also called Take That Back, which is also called, what do you
Say it
call it?
again.
Say It Again. I
Yeah,
really do like that because I like getting to that point where I'm just mush in my brain
yeah,
and I don't know what's going to come out. Like that's really fun. And the fact that that's part of the game,
yeah,
like that's the enjoyable part of the game is when it doesn't make sense.
yeah.
When you get to that third or fourth or fifth take that back and it's like a bubble machine political party or whatever.
So here we go. A life callback and a interview callback.
Yeah.
So this goes back to like the seven things game, where it's like in the new choice when they're dinging or whatever, however they
Yes.
do it. The first few might be logical, but then I'm like, especially when they're messing with you and they're like ding 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 or whatever, or they keep saying new choice. The first three or four might be like logical, but then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna start saying things like you just said, bubblegum political party. But I'm gonna sell it. I'm like, I'm just gonna say the randomest things, but
Right.
I'm gonna sell it. And then if they stop, then now I've got to commit to whatever thing I just said. And
Yes.
for me, it's like that seven things game. It's like three, four, five. I can't think of anything else, so I'm just gonna say whatever and just sell it and commit to it.
Totally. And the audience loves it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love watching that when somebody's brain breaks open and you just see like the words coming out and they don't know what they're saying. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I love improv so much and sometimes I love it so much that I hate it
Mm.
because those are part of the same thing, right? And when I'm hating it, it's always because I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. So I'm doing
Yes.
it
Yeah.
for my job or I'm doing it to make somebody else happy because, somebody has asked me to do something. And so it's really important for me to make sure that I'm finding joy right now.
Mm.
And this has been great. I think that's something so cool about this time that we're all living through, which is
Yeah.
we're having to rely on each other, ask each other for different things than we normally would, and therefore sharing more of ourselves than we normally would.